When the ump yelled, "Play ball," a group took these words to heart. First among them was an all-star baseball player, Sean Casey. This former first baseman of the Cincinnati Reds spearheaded an effort to build the Miracle Field. Stay with us to find out why this project had such a huge impact on Sean and all those it touches. Whether or not you enjoy baseball, you'll love this story. Sean Casey's a former Major League Baseball player who spent 8 years as the first baseman for the Cincinnati Reds. Some argue it's the best team out there. Living in Cincinnati, I certainly would. Earlier this year, Sean was inducted into the Reds Hall of Fame, alongside baseball greats like Joe Nuxhall, Johnny Bench, and Joe Morgan. Toward the end of his career, he returned to his hometown of Pittsburgh to play for the Pirates. A few years ago, he and his wife founded an organization called Casey's Clubhouse to raise funds to build a Miracle League field for special needs kids in Pittsburgh. The field opened this summer and quickly became a very special addition to the city. Sean, have you always had a heart for kids with disabilities?
You know what? I have. I must say that when I was in college, I was kind of looking for someplace to volunteer. And my sister had worked with some kids with cerebral palsy. She said, "Hey, why don't you look into the cerebral palsy community?" And I said, "Oh, okay." I found a school for kids with cerebral palsy in Richmond, Virginia. And so I would volunteer there a couple times a week. And I think that really opened my eyes to the special needs community. Just these kids were so awesome. You think you're going to go and you want to help out and stuff. I think those kids taught me more about myself and about life than anybody. I mean, they were just so awesome.
What led you to start Casey's Clubhouse?
Yeah. Well, we started Casey's Clubhouse because we always wanted to build a Miracle League field. But when you're playing, it's too crazy. You know, you're 8, 9 months and you're just go, go, go. So, you know, my wife and I had said, when we're done playing, we're gonna build a Miracle League field. And, you know, there wasn't one out here in the South Hills. There's one in the North Hills of Pittsburgh that Mike Sherry did. It's a wonderful place. And we felt like it's so wonderful. We need to have one out here too, where you know, kids can come from all over and have this be their field, and then be a part of a team and make some new friends and stuff. So, you know, for us, it was a vision we'd had for years to do this Miracle League field and go out. I never raised $1 in my life. You know, I mean, that was the weirdest part, was the initial fundraising. I had never raised $1 in my life, and
baptism by fire.
Yeah, it was. Like, go get them. You know, I was like, how much do we need? We need over $1 million. We need over $1 million.
Did you find they opened their hearts and their pocketbooks?
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I mean, that's what touched my heart so much, is that, you know, like so many people, you know, stepped up. You know, when you initially ask people for, it's never easy to ask people for money. It just isn't. You know, but when you have a cause like this, that you can touch and you can smell it and you can see it and you can feel it, you know, and you can feel the passion of these kids. Like, all the people that gave us money have been here.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, and they've all been here to see it. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that, like, when you come to see it and you see these kids and you see the difference that their money made, like, it's money. The money that you help for these kids really went to something that, like, is going to change lives.
Tell me some of the specifics about how this field, Sean, accommodates kids with disabilities.
Well, the great thing about it is the rubberized surface is, you know, there's no, you know, there's not a base, there's not a mound. It's all, you know, if a wheelchair needs to go, it goes, you know, and if a kid falls, you know, it's a rubberized surface.
How about the dugouts? They look a little different.
Yeah, the dugouts are a little bigger. You know, they're a lot bigger. I mean, they're for, you know, obviously, so, you know, kids with wheelchairs and stuff can get around. You know, we have some outlets there for power wheelchairs, oxygen tanks.
So if you've got a kid burning up the bases, they can go back in there and recharge.
Yeah, they recharge. Listen, some of these wheelchairs fly, so you know, those kids get around the bases pretty fast. So sometimes we got to recharge them.
How many kids would you estimate are involved in this inaugural season?
Well, we had 140 kids, so, and then we had 140 buddies. So there's almost 300 people. But then think about, you know, cast off of that, all their brothers and sisters that come to the game. These games are packed. You know, every week, you know, and you know, our announcer Harry gets out there and he does his thing, and he's firing up the kids. And you know, the one word I can think of is joy. Joy projects from this place to, you know, it just goes all over. When you're around this field, there's just a sense of joy. And so I think that's what's cool, is that, like, 300 people, 280 people or 300 people are out here physically on the field, but so many people are touched by it.
Coming up, we'll meet the parents of 2 Miracle League players. Two years ago, I had the pleasure of meeting Kurt, Margie, Nolan, and Chloe Kondrich. When Chloe was born with Down syndrome, Kurt and Margie received mostly negative information from the medical community regarding their daughter. As a result, Kurt decided to become an advocate for the inclusion and early intervention of children with special needs. Chloe is now in 4th grade and loves playing baseball. This summer, she played in the Miracle League's inaugural season, and Kurt's thankful she has an opportunity to play a sport she loves. If Chloe didn't have the Miracle League, do you think she'd be able to play baseball?
I'm sure she could play recreationally, but in like a competitive league or that, no. Because Chloe, she enjoys playing. She enjoys sports for the fun nature of it. So with the way our culture has become so obsessed with perfection and winning at all costs and this and that, I don't think Chloe would fit in with that criteria, because Chloe plays sports and does activities and because she enjoys doing them.
Why do you think that the Miracle League's partnership with the Buddy program is so important?
Because every player for the Miracle League has a buddy who works with them. They warm up on the field with them, they help them with their hitting, and so these are children, young adults who live in the community and who maybe have not had a lot of experience and exposure to children like Chloe, children with different abilities. So by coming out here and being part of this sports program, this baseball program, it really shows that these kids are really the same as you. They're a little different, but they have abilities, they have personalities, they're fun, they make you laugh, and these kids, they're getting to see that this is our most precious resource. They're getting to really give back to the community, and I think at that age, it's really critical to see that.
As Chloe's dad, how do you feel when you see her play?
It's very emotional. It's like I said, I'm a big baseball fan. To see my daughter playing baseball it's priceless. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's one of those moments that just, as a father, is an absolute just untouchable moment, and it's a joy to be out here every day, and to watch her brother Nolan also be part of this. It really reinforces the goodness that she's brought into our family's life in just her 9 years on this earth.
Shawna Palmer is another enthusiastic player for the Miracle League. Her mother Karen already had 3 children when she found out she was pregnant with twins. Because the pregnancy came later in life, Karen decided to have testing done to make sure her babies were healthy. Sadly, the doctor called to say he believed one of the babies had an anomaly called trisomy 18. This can result in mental and physical delays and usually a shortened lifespan. Her doctor immediately recommended aborting the baby, saying it was necessary to save the life of the other twin. Scared and unsure of what to do, Karen made an appointment to have an abortion.
I had the appointment made for the abortion, the reduction, as they put it, on the very first doctor's appointment. And the reason I think I did so is I just felt so much pressure. To be quite honest with you, I was scared. I was really, really scared. And I didn't want to have a child with a disability. And I felt by saying that I was doing it for the reason of protecting my other baby, I was justified in it. But at the end of the night, when I laid down and I thought about things, I just knew in my heart it wasn't right. I just knew it. I just knew that if I did this, it would haunt me the rest of my life. I just knew it. And so once I stopped listening to all the voices around me and outside of me, and I listened to my heart, and I knew what the right thing to do was, I decided, my husband and I both decided that it was in God's hands. If He meant for both of those babies to be here, they're going to be here.
After deciding to keep both babies, Karen had a difficult time finding a doctor supportive of her decision. Eventually, she was successful, and Karen delivered both twins, Shane and Shawna. After she was born, Shawna was actually diagnosed with Tetrasomy 18p, a rare chromosomal condition. The doctor painted a bleak future of seizures, heart defects, and mental and physical delays. Fortunately, Karen was able to find other parents who could calm her fears.
I was very fortunate enough to be able to find through the internet, it's called the Chromosome 18 organization, and they put me in contact with families who were affected by Tetrasomy 18p. And I remember the very first question I asked was, does your child have a shortened lifespan? And I got a resounding, not that we know of. And I just remember feeling so much relief. I just knew that my little girl was just going to thrive. I just knew she was going to be okay. Shawna brings tremendous joy to my life. I am so grateful, so incredibly grateful that I did not close the door on that gift that God left at my doorstep. I am so grateful. Honestly, my life without her would just, that's what would be scary.
Tell me about Shawna's participation in the Miracle League.
I was thrilled to have her here this year. It was so much fun to actually see her play because my other children play and Shawna gets to watch, and she doesn't get to be a part of that. And she's fun and she does her own thing, but when it was her time to play and for the focus to be on her, she was so happy and so delighted, and it just really brought me a lot of joy to see her doing the same thing that my other children had the chance to do. I'm proud of all the kids. It's humbling to see how hard these kids will work at achieving something, and it really makes me realize how blessed I am to be a part of the world that has these wonderful children in them.
When we return, we'll hear about the Miracle League Field's opening day and highlights from the season. On Memorial Day, the Pittsburgh Miracle League Field held its opening day. Hundreds of players, family members, and community spectators showed up to cheer on the teams. Their infectious joy and support continued throughout the season.
But I tell you what, that opening day, did so much for me too. Because when could finally see the kids playing, and the smile on their faces, and the tips of the caps, and they were ball players, had uniforms on and doing their thing. It was a moving experience for me. I mean, even having, being the guy that kind of raised most of the money and had my name on it. That was an emotional day for me, just to step back and say, you know what? It was always about these kids, and to see the kids on the field playing, that was an emotional time.
What would you say some of the highlights of the season have been so far?
There's been a few kids that have hit some home runs. That's been really cool to see those kids hit home runs. That's been some highlights for me, the smiles on their faces. But, it's amazing. If you come to any game, I think we start at 8:30, 9 o'clock, and we go to about 3 or 4 o'clock. If you come to any game throughout that time, you'll be touched. There's a story for you. I always tell people, hey, listen, even if you don't have know anybody at these games, I tell friends in my community, come over for an hour, and you'll be absolutely moved by just, by the sheer joy that comes from this place.
I mean, Chloe's making friends out here. It's another thing that's a real blessing about this field. She's meeting other kids. And, some highlights have been her getting hits, running the bases, scoring a run, people sitting in the stands out here cheering her on. Something that was really neat is an interesting story. On opening day, the first thing you see when you come into the Miracle League, there's 2 walls of bricks that people can dedicate to friends, to family, in memory of somebody, in honor of somebody. Chloe has a brick up there to Pittsburgh police officer Paul Shawna, who was killed in an ambush along with 2 other police officers about 4 years ago, and Chloe has a brick up there dedicated to him with his name, his badge number. It says "Our Angel in the Outfield," and it says "Love Chloe." And on opening day, Paul's parents came here and watched Chloe's first game. So it really was for a tragedy, it was a very hopeful day for them, because I said now Paul was part of this field. He's kind of watching over it, protecting it as he would as a police officer. He's a permanent member of the Miracle League field.
What kind of reaction have you had from the community to both the field and the league?
It's been very, very positive, and I think having Sean Casey as the as the member of this community. Here's an all-star baseball player. He could have invested his money in anything he wanted. He could have done anything he wanted, but he has young children, and he's shown that this is where he wants to put his investment. This is where he wants to leave his mark, and I just think it speaks volumes to his integrity, his character, and I wish we had more like him in all aspects of the field, and so it's been very well received. When you drive up to this place and just pull into the lot here and look at this field, it's like the movie Field of Dreams. It's a place where their dreams are being fulfilled, where once there was just darkness, now there's pure light. Once there was despair, now there's hope. And it's an absolute reinforcement of the sanctity of every human being, of every human life, showcasing their abilities and the goodness that they bring back to the community.
Well, Sean, how has interacting with these kids, these special kids, affected you personally?
Well, you know, it's affected me personally just because, you know, it makes you realize that they're just kids. Sometimes you want to tiptoe around the special needs community, and you know what? You don't need to tiptoe around. These kids are great kids. These people are great. They're great people, and you know, you almost want to say, you know, you can't look at them as so much as different. They're just part of our society. They're part of our culture. They're part of our community. They're part of the community, and you just got to realize they're just as they got it going on just as well as anybody else.
In a moment, Sean Casey shares his hopes for the Miracle League organization. Currently, there are over 250 Miracle League organizations across the country, including Puerto Rico, Canada, and even Australia. The league serves over 200,000 children with special needs. Sean, Kurt, and Karen hope its reach continues to grow.
The future plans are to just keep building these things, or to keep having Miracle League fields everywhere. That's what, you know, these fields should be everywhere. These fields should be in every community, you know, and I think hopefully at some point people start to see how important these fields are for, there's a lot of kids in the special needs community. I mean, make no mistake about it. These fields will be used.
Well, for somebody who may be watching the program and thinking, gee, I'd like to start a Miracle League field in my community, what would they do?
The Miracle League has a national website. If you just would Google or search Miracle League, you'll come up with a national website, and there's contact information, other information on there about building a Miracle League field. But really, it's the first thing you do is just this starts out as just parents coming together.
Now, the mission of Casey's Clubhouse is that every child deserves a chance to play baseball. Do you think that this Miracle Field fulfills that mission?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, I do. I think that it sends out more than just a message that every child deserves to play baseball. I think that it sends out a message that every child deserves respect, that every child deserves a chance at life, that every child deserves a chance to be happy and to do the things that other children get to do. So I think that it carries a very powerful message.
This field sits in the shadow of Mayview State Institution, which was built in the late 1800s and was a place that when children with Down syndrome or any other disability were born, they were labeled after their birth and placed in these institutions for a life of exclusion. They were never seen in playing baseball, never seen out at the supermarket or in the community, and they were sent to the institution and did not live a very long life because there was very poor medical help there. In this field, you can literally look over the hill and see the abandoned buildings of that institution. And so now this is a place of inclusion, but I think it's critical that remember for children to be included in the Miracle League field, they have to arrive on this earth, and they have to be included from the time that they are identified in the womb as what they are, as a priceless gift.
Of all your successes in baseball, Sean, how does this field compare to those?
Oh, I mean, you know, I think this is probably greater than any success I've ever had. I mean, because you know, this isn't about me. I think that's what's great about it. This is about so many people that have came together for a great cause to put this together, and that and the kids and the families. Like this is probably my greatest success ever, was building this field. Like the other stuff's great, you know, it's awesome, and the memories I have are great, you know, and those are awesome. But when you get to impact people in a large way, you know, we feel like this has impacted people in our first season, and it'll just keep getting bigger. Every child does deserve a chance to play baseball. Why do we all love baseball? Why is it America's pastime? Because it brings family together. You know, you ask your dad to throw a catch in the yard. It's time with your dad. You know, you ask, you know, mom to flip you some balls in the backyard, or whatever it is, or to go to a ball game. You know, baseball brings families and communities together. And I think what's great is it's doing it here at the Miracle League field too.
It's called the national pastime, and thanks to the Miracle League, kids with special needs don't have to sit on the sidelines and can get into the game. And once you've seen the enthusiasm they have for the sport, I'm sure you'll agree. The pro ball players have nothing on these kids. Thanks for watching. After my visit with Sean Casey, affectionately known as the Mayor while playing for the Cincinnati Reds, he signed hats, t-shirts, and some Miracle League baseballs for a few of our fortunate viewers. Visit our website at facinglife.tv and enter for your chance to receive one of these personally signed items free. While there, find out how you can get a copy of today's episode on DVD. It's one you want to share with others, especially those who are baseball fans.
Here she comes.